Hey everyone. Today I am going to go through a bit of a tutorial with the inner workings and some technicalities of a game called Complex Crashers. It is a tabletop game on Tabletop Simulator. You can find it in the workshop. Oh, if you see here, you can find it by just typing in Complex Crashers. You find it, subscribe to it, and you can load your own table to look at all the cards that I am going to be looking at. Today I'm going to show off the operative side. This is your characters. This is your um, party members. If it was XCOM, this would be your squad. And each player takes control of one operative. Or if you're experienced and there's not enough people, you can always take control of multiple operatives at the same time. But right now, we're just going to go over the basics of creating one. So to create an operative, first you have to find yourself at one of the seats of the board. I'm currently just sitting at green, and you have to and we're gonna do it in this order of picking items, picking weapon. We're gonna pick armor, then weapons, then trainings, then accessories. I'll go into each one of these as it comes up. So, let us start with armor. Your armor is an important stat with your character. You need, in order to live and essentially not get hit by bullets and shots and lasers and other things, you need armor. Now, you default start at 3 armor, which is not a lot of armor, but it also means you also have 3 health, which is not a lot of health either. Bear in mind, being at 3 armor, you have a ton of action points. Action points are spent on abilities on each card. So if we look at basic training, which every operative has, help up is 2 AP to target an incapacitated operative, and they gain 1 health. That would cost 2 AP on the tracker, and you can go negative, but that is not what we're going to go into today. Today we're just going to be going into the building of an operative. Um, the armors are classified into 3 groups currently. 3 and 4 being light armor, 5 being medium, and 6 and 7 being heavy armor. We're going to pick 7 armor today just to show off how this works. So in complex flashes, I will pick if you pick a 7 armor as your unit, not only do you have the most armor and the most health, you also do have, sadly, the lowest AP from at a max of 3. But to make it easier to use abilities and get a little bit back, you get a free accessory, which I will go into here. You get a free accessory called a mobile reactor. The mobile reactor is only for heavy operatives and can power equipment, which some equipment states when powered it does a certain ability. Mobile reactor has 2 abilities, the first one being efficient operation. This ability, when activate, will give you 1 AP. Sounds quite good, right? You can do this anytime you activate an ability off your equipment, which can be accessories or weapons. Slow. No, this ability does have slow reload, which means that you can only activate this ability once per initiative, which is essentially a once per turn ability. It also has inertial field for a cost of 1, which can trigger when you are forced to move from the complex manager, which is essentially the dungeon master or the DM or any other way you want to put it. You just cancel the movement, and you have to increase the cost of this ability. For each region of distance, the operative is away. It's a little confusing, but I do understand what it means. It's basically if they're increase cost. I'm pretty sure that means that the farther away an enemy is pushing you, you have to increase the cost. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, great. But every card is for your own interpretation, dependent. You know, and sometimes I get things wrong. It happens. It's a thing of life. We're now going to move on and select a weapon. So there are 4 weapons in the game currently at tier 1, which is what you can pick from. There is a pistol, a shotgun, an inertial baton, and a jackrabbit SMG. Now, I'm going to look at all 4 of these and think to myself, which one do I want to use, even though inertial baton and pistol state that they are not heavy, which means that a heavy operative like myself at 7 armor cannot use a pistol or inertial baton. So, at the very least, let's look at the options we do have. We have a shotgun, which is a 1 AP, which is 1 AP to activate the ability Fire Shotgun for 3 dice. And unless this weapon is powered, additional activations of the ability in the same initiative cost 2 points. Now, this is actually a great choice for a heavy because due to its powered nature, each activation of Fire Shotgun will only ever cost 1 point, which is great. Off the Hip is a 1 AP reaction that can be triggered whenever a defender, being the complex manager's units, enters your region or activates an attack ability in your region. You may then basically swing the shotgun at them before they can activate or move into your region properly. The second half of the card does say you may pillar after resolving this ability if you are not wearing heavy armor, but in this case, I am wearing heavy armor, but I will take the shotgun. We'll go into the other 3 cards real quick. The Jackrabbit SMG is very decent, and I'll go over the range penalty one because the shotgun also has it. So you can spend 2 AP to fire the Jackrabbit. This is a 5 dice sweeping attack. Sweeping means you can assign the dice to multiple different targets in separate individual dice groups. I apologize, my headset has turned off during the recording of this session, but that is okay, we will keep going on. It is also a slow reload, so that means that you can use this ability once. Quick Suppression is a 1 AP reaction, 3 dice with a sweeping modifier, which can be activated when a complex defender activates an ability or enters a region, same as the shotgun's follow-up, but it has a range limit of 1. And so you can react to people moving near you instead of in your space, which is a very defensive, good option. It does say that at least 1 dice must be assigned to the defender that triggered this ability. The other dice may be applied to defenders in the region the triggering defender occupied when this ability was activated. So you have to at least assign 1 dice to the enemy you were firing at, but if there are other enemies, just in case, you can also throw some dice at them to attempt to kill them. Another side effect of this is you may pillar after resolving this ability if you are not wearing heavy, but again, I am wearing heavy armor. I will less explain the rest, but I'll just fully explain these last 2 weapons for the sake of it, since there are only 4. Or, If you want to pause the video, go ahead. Just read read them nice and nice. Um, and hell, if you really want to, go download it from the workshop if you have Tabletop and check out the cards yourself. So now that I have my weapon, I'm going to now need some trainings to give me some more options of abilities, which would be these 8 cards considered operative trainings. These are tier 1 operative trainings, and they're all the choices you have at the start, and you can pick 2 of them. So I'm going to pick these 2 abilities here because they are very good and surprisingly not bad on a heavy with this field surgeon. Now there are obviously more cards here and much more cards down here to look at in the future, but right now we're just starting at the looking and creation of a tier 1 operative at the start of the game. So these 2 cards I've chosen are combat training and field surgeon. Just because I feel like it might be more explanatory, you can pause the video and read these as much as you like, but I will give a basic explanation. Dive Away is essentially a 1 AP. You basically roll into an adjacent space. This is not Dark Soul rolling, so you do not just avoid the damage completely. To avoid the damage, you'd have to either roll far enough away so that you do not take damage, or roll around a corner so the shots ricochet down the hallway. It also has a side effect that if you have the Elite Assault training, you may pay for and activate an action with the Melee Attack descriptor, which is a Tier 2 training, and melee attacks are abilities with the sword icon. I'll also just, I'll quickly do this and then I'll go over the range penalty because I forgot to. Field Surgeon is quite good. I have to is not bad, and I underrated it quite a bit when I first looked at it. Quick Operation is a 2 AP to target an operative to gain 3 health. You cannot activate this ability though if there's a defender being a complex manager's unit in the same region. And if you have the Savior training, you may move up to 1 region to the target's region as part of the action, so you get a free little movement if you have a tier 2 training. Drag to Safety is a 1 AP action reaction, which can be triggered whenever you want, or on the manager's turn can be triggered whenever a damage dice group has been assigned to an operative, being yourself or someone else, which you can move yourself and another operative, being the triggering operative, to an adjacent region. You and the operative gain 3 sources of enhanced cover against the triggering attack, which is essentially 3 extra armor against the triggering attack. It can only happen in your square and has a slow reload, which can only happen once per initiative, once per turn, however you want to put it. They're both very good cards. They're both very good, and you might find your own good combinations, but this is just one nice little thing. So, I forgot to mention this earlier, but the shotgun has a range penalty, which means that if you fire, a brief version of it, if you fire at an enemy, multiple regions away from yourself instead of the region you're in, you will have to treat that enemy's armor as +1 or plus how many spaces away they are. So if they're 2 spaces away and they have a base of 4 armor, they now have a base of 6 armor, and you have to roll 7 and above to hit the target. So now that we have our trainings and our weapon, we now need to get one more thing. Because I'm a 7 armor operative, I get the mobile reactor for free, but I can still have a second accessory, which is very powerful to have more options like this. We're going to pick the jump pack for today. You can obviously go into the cards and read what all the other ones do. I'll do a quick look over on all of these. You can pause the video if you'd like to read them or not. And I'll quickly do over trainings just because I did skip over them a little bit with this. And all you need to do is just do a little bit of a pause, take a look at the cards, and sit back and listen to my voice talk about the accessory that I've picked. So the second accessory that I picked is the Jump Pack. It has two abilities, one ability being Boost. I just spend 1 AP and I move 3 or 4 regions in a straight line, stopping at a wall or a closed blast door. And if I do not have heavy armor, which I do have heavy armor so I can't do this, you may change direction. So if I was a lighter unit, I could change direction once per use of the Jump Pack. But because I am a heavy, I have access to the ability Splashdown, which only happens once you have resolved Boost, the above ability, and if the equipment is powered, increase the number of damage dice of this attack by 1. So because of the mobile reactor, it would be increased by 1. So it would be 2 dice melee attack, area attack. Area attack is symbolized by the explosion symbol. This means that per every target in the region, including yourself if applicable, which in this case it would be, you would roll 2 dice per target. So if there are 4 enemies and yourself in the region that you're splashdowning, that would be 5 targets, so you would roll 10 dice and assign the dice to each target, including yourself, the way you want to. Basically trying to give yourself the lower numbers and the enemies the higher numbers. Other than actually starting the game and going into other operative seats, this is the creation of an operative. It may not be the best loadout for a character, but it is very good. No, not very good, but it's doable. It's not bad. It's not the most overpowered thing you've probably ever seen, but it's not a bad setup, I would have to say. And with that, a creation of an operative has been done, and we will and if you want to know more about the game, I will be posting more videos on other parts of the game, being the complex manager, the combat system, the reaction system, and maybe some other things that I feel are necessary to talk about in a tutorial like matter. Anyway, thank you everyone for your time, and have a good day.